an MC for this event, and I am here to welcome you. I wanted to inform you all that we are 20 minutes late for our first session, so kindly cooperate, and I request our session first speakers to come to the stage. I would like to call Avinav Banerjee, IP Research from Airbus India, Arsin Saiyad, Intellectual Property Analyst at Deva, and our third speaker, Nadim M, Jisr, Thomson Reuters, Dubai. Thank you very much for all of you to be a part of our IP event. I request you all to start the session accordingly as per. I would like to hand over the mic to Nadim M. Jisr. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Shreya. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Nadim M. I'm the editorial lead for legal professionals at Thomson Reuters in the Dubai office. I've been invited to speak on the topic of emerging IP trends and technologies. And I've put a small deck that I go through quickly, so we'll allow time for my fellow speakers to take their turn as well. When we talk about IP and technology, I can still remember my first computer that I bought, desktop. It was a desktop computer. It had a bulky monitor and the heavy hard drive. And I can also remember the sound of the dialing in when you wanted to connect to the internet. Now, this may seem like 20 or 25 years plus ago. I'm not that old, by the way, but it's just that technology advanced and developed with gigantic leaps forward. What was a revelation for us maybe 20 years or 25 years back is now considered ancient history. Robots, machines, artificial human beings were only things we've seen in science fiction movies. So these are the topics I'm going to touch upon when it comes to technology and IP. I come from a legal background. I am a lawyer myself. So my presentation might take more a legal drive than a technical drive. I've read a lot of comments on AI and the way it's revolutionizing the tech industry and impacting different businesses, not only legal businesses. And out of all the comments that I've seen and read, I chose to select the following quote from Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, because it's my personal favorite. These words reflect my exact sentiments on how AI should be utilized today and in the future. So it's no wonder also that when asked in past November, in an interview, Tim also announced that Apple will be investing responsibly in AI in 2024 and the coming years. I found it a very interesting choice and wise choice of words. He used the word responsibly. I think this highlights the mindset of a company like Apple, which is not jumping around just to take turn into spending and investing in left and right in AI, rather than just thinking reasonably and wisely how to invest in AI and how to better utilize it. This tech frenzy that started probably or emerged quickly to the surface after COVID, or after the impact of COVID started subsiding, and the world started opening up. Businesses were trying to find a way to still survive, even though people were locked down in houses. Therefore, this is what led to the rise of certain trends. Just like fashion, there are trends for a certain period of time, and this is the same way that it happened in IP. So a new invention comes into play, we test it, we try it, we have our fun with it, and then we make use of it sometimes, and also we see, or we wait for the next best thing to happen. So it's been a cycle ever since COVID hit, for the past 3 or 4 years now. In terms of technologies, can we skip please to the, thank you. The key technologies between 2020 and 2023 are these 4 main topics: blockchain, Internet of Things, cryptocurrency, and artificial intelligence. I've included, I'm not going to explain every single one of them. I just put some metrics just to show the impact of technology, and then move on into how this is causing any challenge and concern for IP-related affairs. In terms of blockchain, we can see that the revenue of the biggest blockchain company in 2023 was $5 billion. Yes, thank you. 300 million users is the number of users of cryptocurrency, which blockchain was originally created for cryptocurrencies. But we know that now blockchain can be used across a wide various types of activities. They can be used in supply chain, they can be used in healthcare. So it's not so restricted to cryptocurrency. And 11 billion was the market size of the blockchain market, and it's expected to grow by 75% by 2030. This is the first one. Internet of Things has seen a rise of the spend in MENA, because we are in Dubai, we need to talk about the region as well. The spend in EMEA on Internet of Things is 25% of the total spending on technology. 1.1 trillion was the expected spend on Internet of Things in 2023, and we have 800 billion is the current market as of January 2024, and it's expected to grow by 13% by the end of 2024. Cryptocurrencies, who haven't heard about bitcoins and other coins? The projected value of cryptocurrency in 2024 is expected to hit 51 billion. And an approximate value of 112 billion was traded is traded in cryptocurrency per day. And currently, as we start 2024, there are 6,000 different types of cryptocurrencies around the world which you can trade with. Lastly, on AI, which will probably be our topic for this session. The global market value for AI is 136 billion. We have 97 million people expected to work in the AI sector in different companies by 2025. And 83% of global and international companies claim that AI is a top priority for their business. this large volume of technology and spend on technology definitely raises concerns and raises challenges. And we're not going to address all of them, we just limit them to IP-related material, because cryptocurrency, Internet of Things, blockchain, and even AI now are giving rise to questions from a legal perspective when it relates to IP laws. I've put down three main challenges in three main categories. The first one is the legislative and regulatory material. So most of us are following the news on legal updates and the new laws or regulations that are being issued. As of now, we don't have yet a regulation that regulates AI officially. The one that's expected to be issued soon, I believe, is the EU Act. And in terms of GCC countries and MENA, we don't have any laws. We have laws on data privacy, yes, but we don't have laws that regulate AI. Governments are still, monitoring this sphere, monitoring how AI is developing, and then they will see how they can incorporate these in laws. Just a quick note on the EU Act, which is yet to be approved. It adopted a risk-based approach regarding AI technologies and usage. So it classified the usages into 4 different categories. First one is unacceptable risk. Any activity or technology or software that uses AI that poses an unacceptable risk, then this is banned in the EU. There's no question. The second category is high risk, and this is where comprehensive and mandatory compliance and transparency obligations come into play and need to be issued by regulators. The third category is limited risk. This is where there are assessments to be done, for example, for technologies like chatbots, but still they are subject to minimum transparency and compliance obligations. So they're more allowed, more lenient into accepting them into their practices. The last category is minimal or no risk, and this is allowed for free use. And still, there will be encouragement on providing local or tailored voluntary code of conduct when using such technologies. The second category is protection of IP rights. Maybe some of you have seen in recent days or read the news before about the lawsuit that the New York Times has filed against OpenAI, the owner of ChatGPT. It's going to be to set a precedent, because assessments and reports in the case filing show that ChatGPT used exact extracts from the New York Times, from articles from New York Times. They only changed the wording or the placing of the paragraphs, but still it was an exact copy, which raises the question of infringement of copyrights. So this is where countries and governments, even in GCC, need to look into this matter and start applying maybe more robust protection systems, laws and regulations for IP when used internationally. The third challenge or concern is data privacy, which mainly arises from blockchain and cryptocurrencies. There are a lot of personal data that's being shared for people using blockchain technology or doing activities or transfers, money transfers, and there's a risk of a leakage maybe sometimes. So this is another concern that such technologies pose using the AI. If we want to talk about now the IP trends that are emerging in 2024, we can see that it's mainly around AI, and we can spend a good 5 minutes here just to talk that. The most prominent example on AI was the ChatGPT, but it's not now only ChatGPT. There are other applications that are doing designs, that are doing images, that are copying sounds now, which is, it's getting diverse as well. Major companies are budgeting millions of dollars to spend in 2024 and the coming years on AI. Everyone wants to either partner with a startup or spend internally on developing AI systems. Even law firms, they're starting doing that. We've seen law firms that have created a contract drafting tool using AI, tools that summarize notes and practices and memorandums. They were all internal investments, not even outsourced to technology companies. And in GCC, while we are in Dubai and speaking about the MENA region, the expectation on spend and investment in AI for the next 3 years is expected to be around $70 billion. $20 billion of it is only in the UAE, and we've all seen announcements from the ministry and the government in UAE around their commitment into developing technologies and AI capabilities. And according to various reports, there's a good 25 to 30% of some of the administrative and paralegal work at law firms and legal companies that will be replaced by AI tools. This is the expectation by 2025. So, all companies are looking into AI more in depth. The second trend that we've seen as well, we don't hear about it probably as much as AI, but it's a subset of AI, which is called machine learning and deep learning. And the third one is the globalization of IP enforcement, which talks about the risk of IP protection. We've seen more and more, regulations, treaties being signed to enable the global protection of IP laws and facilitate lawsuits, facilitate the enforcement of IP laws in different jurisdictions. I've just put a slide, the next one, just to show you the number of treaties that the GCC countries are party of. These are all IP-related treaties. We have the Berne Convention, Hague Agreement, Madrid Union, Nice Agreement, Paris Convention, Rome Convention, Strasbourg Agreement, Trademark Law Treaty, and the TRIPS. You can see that the UAE is signatory to most of them. And the most recent ones are in 2022, which is, for example, the Nice Agreement for registration of marks and the Strasbourg one. So the GCC countries are investing a lot or governments are investing in AI. They have a target to develop AI technologies and capabilities for their own, for their people and for their countries. And that's why they're jumping on the legal sphere or scene, international scene, to sign more and more treaties. There is still, for example, for Kuwait, some advancement to do. It's not party of a lot of agreements, but if we look at UAE, we look at Saudi, which is an emerging market now. Everyone's looking at Saudi Arabia. It's party of, to some of these important IP treaties. My closing remarks, I just wanted to give an overview of, give some metrics and from a legal perspective, what GCC countries are doing. To close and finish off, I would just say in 2022, ChatGPT reached 1 million users in about a week, and by early 2023, it accumulated more than 100 million users per month, and it's still compounding. AI will continue to grow. That's definite. No one can say other than that. Evidently, the discussion on the convergence of IP and technology has just begun. It won't end anytime soon. It's just starting. The more the technology advances and develops, the deeper the discussion will become to tackle all the challenges and the concerns and risks from a legal perspective and from a technical perspective. So the traditional legal framework of any country will soon change drastically with the introduction of AI and technology. What was not possible or in sight 10 or 20 years ago, now it's a reality, and we cannot deny that. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Avinav. I'm from the Airbus IP Analytics and Intelligence team. We're based out of Bangalore, India. Today, yes, I'm going to be talking about emerging IP trends and technologies. However, compared to the regular discussions that we've been having since yesterday, like, yes, what the implications of AI are, the generative AI, this and that. We have mostly been talking about the consumer market. We're talking about authorship. We're talking about, let's say, music and copyrights for images and this and that. Today, I would just like to go into what it means for the industrial segment. All right. Say, for example, a company like Airbus, or say our friends at Boeing, or a Toyota, or a BMW. What does it mean, right? And how these technologies are going to change the way we do things, and what are the IP challenges that exist in protecting these technologies, and how it's going to change the way we do things, or we are trying to adapt to do the things just to kind of like incorporate the current IP legal framework to practice them. All right. So before we get into this, we'll quickly, I'll just tell you what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a few growth trends of the key digital technologies, the usual suspects. But then we're going to talk about the IP challenges they face individually, and then we're going to talk about why traditional IP rights are not enough, and there I'm going to get into the industrial bit, and then some wishful thinking, some possible solutions on how to handle these IP challenges. So first things first, we're going to talk about some of the emerging tech in the digital area. This is AI. What you can see is the growth trend over the last decade. You can see 2022, it's to grow more. We're going to see more data there because 6 months worth of publication is still yet to be done. But you can see this is like in tens of thousands, all right? And you can see the big players, IBM, Samsung, Baidu, Tencent, Microsoft. It's all our usual suspects. It's companies, you use the products every day, right? Similarly, you can see what challenges we face in AI. I'm not going to go too much into this. For example, we have already spoken about what generative AI has a problem in terms of IP. This is an interesting survey that The Verge did. They asked artists about generative AI, and 44% of them said they have actually, asked AI to copy an artist's particular style. 43% believe companies should ban copying artists, so this is again conflicting. And 70% say that they believe artists should be compensated when AI copies their work, right? This is an art, so this is purely from the point of view of artists. One more thing is, AI uses data for training models, right? Now, the problem here is a lot of this data, especially in the industrial segment, is copyright data, right? Now, if you use my data, which gives value to your models, why should I not get a cut of that pie? And the important thing here is even someone like IBM, who are like a top leading patent filing guys in the US, they have said AI inventions can be difficult to fully disclose because even though the input and output may be known by the inventor, the logic in between is in some respects unknown. Now, what are the implications of this? Okay, patent law requires an inventor to sufficiently disclose how his invention can be reduced to practice, right? That is what we call enablement. According to the US American statutes, it's 112, right? So now, think of it this way. There's two ways I can file an AI patent. One is, I'm going to file a patent for a particular application. And that application is going to be using AI. And I'm just going to say that using AI is one of the steps how my solution is coming out, right? There's the other part which says that I'm going to file a patent which improves AI techniques, right? People have been filing for both, right? Now, here's the thing. When you say that I'm going to use it for a particular application, I'm just going to use AI like a tool, say like a calculator to do this, but my overall intent of my whole invention is something else. When AI is just a step, you might get away with it and people are getting a lot of patents in that. However, when you actually say these are for the improvements, and this is how, this is the input, that is the output, and this is a black box, and I'm going to work on techniques to improve this black box, you yourself, after a certain while, are not going to have a clear idea of, what is it that you're doing. So now here's the thing. Do you sufficiently have information on how your invention is actually working, step by step, step by step, step by step? So the answer is no. You have a reasonable idea of how it works, but not step by step, step by step, step by step. So are you actually obeying the enablement requirements? Again, there are guidelines as to how and what should be allowed, what should not be allowed. For example, the Japanese Patent Office in 2019 gave out some guidelines, and different patent offices have been given. But this is again a gray area, right? And again, beyond authorship, images, and music, this is an industrial example from my industry, right? Here's the thing, right? Some aircrafts like the A350 produce up to 400 parameters of sensor data, all right? And an average Boeing 737 generates 20 terabytes of engine data every single hour, right? Now imagine this is the amount of data, all right? And here's the thing, what do we do with that data? Aircraft engine manufacturers like GE, Rolls-Royce, Pratt & Whitney, they make use of this sensor data to provide advanced analytics using digital twins. For those of you who do not know what a digital twin is, it is actually a model, a real high fidelity model with the physics and the data built into it so that it can mimic the actual physical twin. So you have a digital twin of an aircraft engine. It is based on the physical twin. Now the data that the physical twin is experiencing, that same data is going to be fed into the digital twin, and you can actually get results of when an engine is supposed to, something can go wrong with it. We call it predictive analytics, right? And then you can schedule a maintenance beforehand so that the airline operator doesn't suffer. Because in the aviation industry, you're only making money once your aircraft is in the air. The moment it is in the ground, you're losing money, right? So that's how it is. Again, an airframer like Airbus and Boeing, we also use AI for predictive analytics. But here's the thing, who owns the data that is associated with an engine? Is the manufacturers of the engine, okay? Who owns it for the rest of the aircraft? It's the guys who made the aircraft, right? So you can see that data is the gold which we are using to offer value to the customers, all right? Now, given the fact that everyone can do AI and can come up with software which gives you all this, then where is the differentiator? How do we protect what is ours? Obviously, it's the data. It's not the AI. So it's the data, when used with AI, gives us the value, and that is where we create our relevance in terms of services, right? And bring value to the customer. This graph tells you a bit about blockchain. This is the filing trend of blockchain. Again, you can see this is tens of thousands of patents. Again, the usual suspects of the top filers are Baidu, Ping An, this is I believe a Chinese insurance company, Tencent, Alibaba Group, so this includes Alipay also, Bank of China, IBM. Now the interesting thing you will notice here is if you see the top 20, top 30 players globally, it's a race between the banks and the traditional IT companies. Now why is that? Why are banks getting into blockchain? Right? That's an important question we should be asking ourselves. The answer is also pretty interesting. So now what are the challenges with blockchain? Okay, at the very basic level, when you try to patent a blockchain invention, right, you will have to first relate to how the blockchain functions and how external systems, including other side chains, interact with the data on that blockchain. Alright? Now here's the thing, if you have an invention and you just store data on that blockchain, on a blockchain, just storing data and making it part of your invention will not get you a patent. Okay? You actually need to see what say and describe properly what are the operations being performed using blockchain and how it brings value to your invention. Only then would you get a patent for a blockchain. And also, the problem with blockchain is because it is distributed, there needs to be a harmonization of IP rights and interests for a vast variety of data, because the data on a blockchain can be generated by different people in different countries for different applications. We do not know. So there needs to be some kind of harmonization. All right. I'll get to the point of how blockchain becomes very important for the industrial segment. All right. What you see here is basically the digital thread, this brown arrow that you see. All right. A digital thread means a seamless communication framework that would allow connected data to flow in an integrated view throughout the asset's lifecycle. Right. Now, if I am designing an aircraft, I know I have to first do the product design and engineering. I have to do the enterprise management and the manufacturing, and then when I sell it, there's product operation and support and services that I have to give. All right. Now, all this data, the dream in the industry, manufacturing industry, is I need to have all this data in a single platform, and this means there is a single source of truth. For example, if I have used a nut somewhere, that nut, say, the pitch is a certain measurement, say 2 millimeters, right? What happens in the industry is somewhere down the line, one engineer is using it 2, the other team may be using 2, but because of different reasons, it becomes centimeters instead of millimeters. And believe me, these things have happened and they have been very costly, all right? So this is why the industry really wants to do the digital thread, so that these kind of mistakes do not occur. I'll give you an example. There is a certain aircraft, all right, which was designed by people sitting in 2 different countries. The set of engineers in country A prefer using 2D. The other ones they prefer using 3D. Now, they designed different sections of the aircraft. When during manufacturing, this was brought together, there was a 10 millimeter gap, all right? And this was a very, very expensive mistake because of a very small issue, but it set back the project by a few months, all right? So this is why every millimeter counts for us, and there is no scope for this kind of silly errors. This is why we really want something like the digital thread. Now, what is the best possible solution to implement a digital thread? It's the blockchain. Why? Because the blockchain, once the data goes into it, it stays that way, it is immutable, it cannot change, it's completely traceable, so you know at what stage who modified the data, who used it, and what has happened. Also, another important thing about blockchain is you can use it to execute smart contracts. So especially when you go to the enterprise and manufacturing chain, when you're working with your suppliers, what they have sent to you, what you have received, when you have received it, all these things can be automatically executed using the smart contracts on a blockchain, right? Now, once you have this blockchain ready, this is going to be the digital backbone of the whole digitalization ecosystem, or what you can again call the industrial metaverse, right? Now, using the data on the blockchain, different digital twins at different levels. It can be in design and engineering, it can be in manufacturing and supply, your maintenance, your operations or services will use different digital twins, and all these digital twins are going to run on real-time data, which is environmental data, operational data, and also data it can directly store in the blockchain or retrieve from the blockchain, the real-time data, right? Now again, you can interact with different types of digital twins using AR, VR and all this, alright? So you can see all these technologies come together like jigsaw puzzle pieces and give you the whole picture. And every one of these technologies, be it the visualization technologies or the AI or the IoT or the blockchain, they all need to come together, fit in perfectly, and that's only when they work. The problem is, like I said, each of them have the big challenges, and when you put them together, it just goes to. This talks about cloud computing because I told you the volume of the volume of data that is generated. It needs to be stored. We need to provide, these digital twins would be requiring sufficient computation power. So cloud computing is very important for realizing what I just showed you. And here on the right hand side, you can see the top players, right? Again, for cloud computing also, it's a double-edged sword, right? You have problems of data jurisdiction, data sovereignty, and privacy issues. And here's the important thing. 90 to 95%, according to a Gartner report, are going to be cloud native by 2025. What does that mean? That means when you have cloud native development, everything that you do, right from developing your software using DevOps to implementing it and updating and scaling, it's all in the cloud. And this is going to be spread across the globe. Now, are you going to use one cloud provider, two cloud provider services, or are you going to maintain an expensive cloud of your own? That depends on you. But the problem is, if you're going to use multiple cloud service providers, there needs to be harmonization of IP policies, right? So again, big challenge. Also, if something goes wrong, because it's so distributed, if you have a set of patents, where do you enforce them? Because you'll have multiple parties across multiple jurisdictions, and different parts of the system are going to be relevant. You need to figure out which part was infringed by whom and in which jurisdiction. And this is again a very big challenge when you look at it practically. Easier said than done theoretically. This again shows you or gives you an idea of the trend in IoT and edge computing. Again, you can see it's in tens of thousands, right? And the big players are Qualcomm, Samsung, Huawei, so chip manufacturers and communication companies mostly. The reason for that is because IoT is going to be, and edge computing are going to be very sensor intensive, right? So you need energy efficient ways of communication also. That's why you see these guys. Again, what are the challenges, IT challenges, IoT and edge computing? First things first, I would say is standards. You need to have standards. Different vendors working on different standards, offering their services for using different standards, and is going to be a big problem because if I am a company, I know different products are there for my different requirements. But I need a harmonization because I cannot be making my whole ecosystem dependent on one particular product from one particular vendor. So standard essential patterns, brand licensing terms, royalty stacking are these challenges that these companies need to figure out so that the implementation of IoT itself is not harmed because of their own petty wars, right? Again, multiple parts of these sensor networks are going to be used by different multiple entities. The data generated by them are going to be exchanged, they're going to be worked on and used by somebody else. So finding a single infringing entity again becomes, within as well as the jurisdiction, becomes a nightmare here. Who do you blame? This one gives you, again, a trend of digital twin and digital twin. This is slightly lower than the rest because this is a more niche and emerging technology. But you can see Siemens, GE, IBM are the big players here. Siemens and GE are the big players because they have already come up with their digital twin platforms, right? GE had Predix, Siemens, MindSphere. So that's why they are the leading players here. But then IBM is catching up because IBM's business model for digital twins is slightly different. They are tying it up with their computation, blockchain, and cloud business. And they're trying to get into different segments. So the moment you go into a cloud using a digital twin, that's where IBM becomes relevant and you're going to have to go talk to them. Okay, I've already discussed on the IP challenges of a digital twin and a digital thread. I told you how data is generated by different people but are going to be used by different people, so where do you draw the line, right? This shows you a trend of AR, VR and mixed reality. So like I said, these technologies are going to be used in the digitalization of industrial processes. Widely, they are already being used. In our industry, they are used for, wiring the aircraft, which is one of the most challenging and time-taking activities. But what has happened is, using AR, people have managed to replace 10-foot long paper drawings, which the workers would constantly need to refer to and do their work with just Google glasses or something like that. So that has replaced the whole way people do that activity. It takes less time, people commit less errors, and we get an overall efficiency of up to 30%. So you tell me, if this is not how tech should be used, how else should we use it, right? Again, you have to understand one thing. AR, VR, the way they were, they have more to do with consumer market, right? Say Pokemon Go and all that stuff. So when manufacturing industry picked up AR and VR, we had to work on it. We had to build the back-end technology so that we could make it, own it, and use it. It's not a plug-and-play solution actually for us. Again, some IP challenges with AR, VR would be, like especially in the metaverse, would be these devices are going to be displaying a lot of copyright material. Now, every time some copyright infringing material is, shown via these devices need to, actually there are like efforts going on where the devices themselves are going to figure out, whether there be like some infringement in terms of what is going to be displayed on them. There will be digital rights management encoded into these devices. For example, I'll tell you, PlayStation, right? PlayStation has a DRM built into it, which a lot of people hate, but then it was put in, so it's silently put it in, right? So these are the kind of technologies that people are seeing that, okay, when you actually implement at the terminal, right? For example, the AR goggles or the VR goggles are your terminal using which you're going to use the metaverse. So you can put it at the source, all right? Or you can put it elsewhere. But again, patenting these are also going to be challenging, innovation in the AR VR space, because there are only so many ways you can patent these inventions, right? It can either be just for the hardware, but that's again a very expensive affair, not every company is going to be doing it, or you can use it for application, practical application using AR VR, right? Like I mentioned, the aircraft wiring application or something like that, right? So both these spaces are actually, crowded, and there's only so many ways you can bring in innovation here. So this is going to be a very crowded space. I have put in some, cases reference for you if you are interested to check out how hardware AR VR cases have been dealt. There's another one for an application You can just check it out. Now here's the thing, right? We have looked into all these different technologies. We have individually seen what the IP challenges in each of them are. Now imagine when all these guys come together and build a metaverse, right? What are going to be the challenges? Huge challenges. And the best part is the metaverse is going to be built on these technologies. Now these technologies should foster innovation in the metaverse. It shouldn't work to, suppress the innovation in metaverse. So what you have here is this drawing. I like this diagram very much because it shows you how these building blocks come together to give us the metaverse. You can see users in the extreme left and the metaverse in the extreme right? So this shows you how the physical world connects to the digital world, right? You have the IoT, we have spoken about it. You have the digital twins. The metaverse is actually going to be millions and millions of digital twins. You have AI, you have big data, we spoke about, big data, let's say cloud computing and data analytics, right? And XR apps, which is your AR and VR, right? So this is how all these things come together to give you the metaverse, right? And here's the thing, the metaverse is going to be built on layers, right? What you see in this blue box are the different layers of the metaverse, right? You have the infrastructure layer, you have the human interface layer, you have a decentralization layer, spatial computing, creator economy, content discovery, and experience. Now, what does it mean to have IP in this case? If you look at this part, the lower part, patents are a better choice to protect it because this is a bit more hardware intensive, right? And these are also fertile grounds to have standards and SCPs to harmonize the foundations of the metaverse. However, when you move up towards content creation and content discovery and content delivery and experience, copyrights and trademark value increases and they need to be protected more. Patents will find themselves in a heavily populated software method landscape where they are going to be very difficult to get granted as well as to defend them, right? So this is basically what we're looking at. Now, this particular slide shows you how in those 7 years, who the main players are as of now. You can see many of these names already I have included it in if you refer to my previous slides, you'll see a lot of these names there, right? So basically shows you the who's who of each of these layers. Now all these guys need to work together, right? Not sue the hell out of each other. And okay, I won't get into too much into this because we have had sufficient talk about this, about metaverse in the IP in the metaverse, right? But imagine things like this, right? Copyrights can protect your lyrics, the arrangement and performance of a song, but do they protect your voice from being AI synthesized to sing other songs? Can you protect, because copyright is an expression, right? My voice is not an expression, my voice is a sound. Can I? Even if you look at sound marks are also an expression. That Intel Pentium ting 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 ting, that's an arrangement. There is a pause and then the second beat comes. That is also an expression. But how to protect my voice, right? Again, this is a common one. You use someone's IP in your own content in the metaverse. How do you track this? So tracking content use is a big challenge now. All right. Because once you have the base IP and it finds its way into the metaverse, this is going to be cloned, this is going to be modified, this is going to be used for different applications. How do you track this? How do you forget about the money involved in it? How do you control your trademark from not finding its way into a porn site? Would you want that for your brand? Right? So how do you track it? Right? So this is the problem, right? Again, identity theft, digital avatars will need legal protection because copyrights are not going to protect it. Neither are patents or trademarks. Evil twins in the metaverse, right? If someone creates a digital avatar of you and misuses it, what do? What are your rights? And the problem is because of decentralization and cross-platform usage, enforcing any type of, not just IP law, any kind of law is going to be a huge, huge problem, right? I'm just going to show you a snippet of what the industrial or the OEM metaverse looks like. On the left-hand side, you have the blue boxes, which is the industrial metaverse, and on the right-hand side, you have a consumer metaverse, right? Now, an OEM is going to be in both these spaces, and both these spaces are actually connected, okay? So on the left-hand side, you can see throughout designing, from designing till actually manufacturing and commissioning the product to providing after-sales services, right? We will constantly be generating IP in the industrial metaverse, and this needs to be protected because we are going to be sharing a lot of stuff with our vendors, with our suppliers, with the government, with our customers. How do you protect them, right? And then you come to the consumer metaverse. In the consumer metaverse, you have two main parts. One is greater product and service value for usage of the products by your customers, right? Things like customer interaction, product experience, after-sales support, cost savings of the product when your customer uses it, environmental and carbon emission mitigation, enhanced product operation and safety, and of course, you work using all this. You work towards a subtle brand advocacy, right? And again, on the right-hand side of the consumer metaverse, you see brand sustainability, advocacy, and monetization, right? So this is things like, let's say, a few years back, if you remember, the Black Lives Matter movement started, and all the companies were aligning with that, right? Right from Sony to, I believe, Adidas and all these companies. So that's a company bringing in its values and putting it in a social space, so that people get to know what the values of the company are. Using metaverse, you can do that. But again, someone can misuse it also and use it for their own, personal gain. So you need to keep track of things like that. So basically, you get the idea here. We are going to be generating IP both in the industrial side and the consumer side, and we need to track and protect all these different IPs. Using patents wherever possible, copyrights and trademarks wherever possible. But here's the challenge. These things alone aren't going to be enough. So the whole thing is, wishful thinking is, copyrights, patents and trademarks are just legal instruments that help you chase down the villain, right? Once the copying has happened, that's when you take him to court. But it does not actually stop someone from copying it. Their relevancy starts only once the copying has happened, right? Now, what do you do to protect it from, protect copying from happening in the first place, right? You put in things like DRM, all right? You put in laws which actually kind of like stop people from being able to copy things at the operating system level, but then again, there'll be huge challenges because nobody's going to buy it. Nobody wants it. But this is where regulatory support needs to come in. I think all of us know about the citizen identification system called Aadhaar, which was implemented in India a few years back. And there was a huge road that people didn't want to give up their biometric details to the government, right? It was a huge challenge, but once they were convinced, they started giving it. And using Aadhaar today, every person, even in the remotest part of India, has a bank account, he's getting insurance services, and he's getting healthcare. So you see, once there is consensus, social consensus, and regulatory support for a particular technology, it will find its way and benefit society. So same thing comes in when we think of protecting our IP in the metaverse. There will be things people don't like, but then we have to find the right balance between creativity and protecting the original IP owner's interest, right? So yeah, long story short, this is basically what I wanted to say is, yes, IP, traditional IP legal instruments like trademarks and copyrights are okay, but in addition to this, we need to use technology to first, at the source, prevent things from getting copied. And the best thing about the metaverse is it's digital, so it's going to be digital assets, right? And you can actually trace digital assets using blockchain, smart contracts, the way they flow, who uses it, who gets it, how it is used, when it is used. All these things can be done, right? Now it's a matter of building this ecosystem and making it accessible to everyone, because the regular IP creator, like if I'm making a song, I can write a blockchain smart contract, right? I can't. How do I embed that with my song? I can't. I need to be given that platform to do it, right? So this is how it is. Yeah, I'm done. Let's discuss.
Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all. Well, first of all, my name is Arsin Saiyad. Thank you, Avinav and Nadim, for almost you cover all the topic in the technology and the digital. Avinav, thank you for he covered all that IP trend in terms of digital. So I would like to add one more topic. Yeah, I would like to add one more topic. It just pop up in my head when you were talking about that IP trend in terms of digital. So that's a deepfake video. Nowadays, it's very difficult to identifying the fake video and audio with the help of ChatGPT. And generally, select people are being targeted with that. And recently one case is I have seen like in India one famous Bollywood actor Anil Kapoor went to the High Court for like to protect his personality, like his photo or video is not going to be used for any of this kind of things, because someone don't wants to share their pictures, or they want their privacy. So this deepfake video is also another challenging in terms of digital IP trend. Another thing that I would like to discuss, that voice. One of the Indian singer Arijit Singh recently expressed that he wants to patent his voice. So it sounds funny, but because we can't patent our voice, right? But yeah, because of this voice cloning, so it's a scary part for them also. Like, what if in the near future that AI will use his voice and then no need of singer at all, right? So of course, so he expressed his feeling towards the media, like I want to patent my voice. So that's all about like the IP trend in terms of digital world. But first of all, yeah, let me tell you, I am not from a law background, so I don't know much from the what's the law and all. Yeah, so my experience in the patent analyst, and I'm basically from the science student. And being a student of industrial chemistry, I got opportunity to work on the multiple domain like the chemical, pharma, oil and gas, energy sector, and so on. So today I would like to discuss more topic and more IP trend in terms of apart from the digital, the another world, that's the in technology, in the industrial domain. So yeah, in my recent experience in my recent experience with this Diva R&D Center, so the basically the main purpose of this R&D center is based on to go with the more the sustainability and the energy sector, and their plan was to go for the completely solar based Dubai by 2030. So that's the main aim of that R&D center. So we have been receiving many of patent in terms of solar. And one more interesting thing, it just not give a opportunity to more patent in the solar domain, but parallelly there is the need arrive, like in terms of because of that productivity of that solar panel, it needs to be cleaned every time, like as it's going to use in the open domain, and no dust should be there, so it needs to be cleaned every of minute, you can say like that, and it's not our task, like human can't go to clean for the, so it also create a good opportunity scope for the robotic department. So the things are going like this. with the help of the landscape searching, we just get the insight, this solar domain not only open the scope of pattern for this solar, but also the another department need another needs arrive, and which leads to another pattern from the another department, just like a robotics. But still there are the changes, like they need to come out from that standard, like there till now there must be some standard for that robots and all. Now they need to go for the different standard which out of that standard, and it's very difficult to justify in terms of IP, because there the design should be fit in that standard. But now they need to go for the design which fulfill the requirement of that fit on that solar panel. So there are the challenges. Just like that, another interesting topic, that's the 3D printing. Nowadays, it's a rat race of the inventor that everyone just wants to go with this 3D printing. But there is also another task, because in this 3D printing, once that design file is ready, it's another, like the chance of copying in this digital world is just a click away. Like people, it's very like easy to share, so the replication is just very easy. So it's another scary part. And one more thing, in this 3D printing, like it doesn't have just like a traditional manufacturing technique. It doesn't have a proper form, mold or anything. So like there is no fixed design. So it's very difficult to draw as IP people. It's very difficult for us to draw watermarking. Like this is the fixed standard, or this is the draw line. So because it's just free of the size, like you can choose your mold design. So inventor try to come up with the new materials, which are all, sometimes they try to just change the composition of the materials in the proportion, which are just kind of obvious thing. So it also leads to the overlapping of patterns, and this will also you can say that IP challenge. Due to all this problem, the 3D there had some advancement in the 3D printer, and just like auto alignment, because one of the most challenging thing in the 3D printing is that proper alignment of the layer. So they come up with that auto alignment 3D printer. But now there is the challenge of how to remove the product from the final that machine, that 3D printer, because while removing the product also they lost the material. So there are challenges. It's a long way to go, like the never ending in terms of technology, in terms of IP, and especially when they don't have any specific standard or things like I say there is no specific just like a traditional manufacturing technique. Here there is no any specific mold or things fixed. So there are no chances of difficult for us to justify that. Apart from that, there are also in fuel cell also there are trend when inventors have been facing many challenges. Like there are different type of fuel cell, but nowadays people are moving. There are growing demand of the hydrogen fuel cell. But hydrogen fuel cell is one of the most complex technology, as you can use the hydrogen just by if either you can burn or either you can store and use it. Either burn, it's a very different level of complexity. So people are just going with that hydrogen storage. This is also kind of cost wise, and that sharing and storage purpose, it's also difficult. So this all leads to the this complex technology is even difficult for the analyst because of too many overlapping of the pattern. And if it goes, like if you are able to, then also it's very difficult to justify for the inventor how it's different from the another. Just like the recently, like Toyota gave the more than 5,000 of patent as a royalty-free patent. Just what's the reason behind it? Like the people are thinking there are not challenge, but still there are challenge. Hydrogen storage is one of the difficult. I can say one of the difficult tasks, because one of the is the combustive nature, and also it need a wide range of infrastructure and all. So there are challenges, but still they want to more to collaborate or encourage the people to go with the hydrogen fuel cell. Apart from that, on the other side, the competitive like the pattern, more pattern arise in the fuel of in the battery domain, inventor come up with lithium ion battery, trying to come up with the different nanomaterial. And I have seen that in my experience, sometimes inventors spend so much time in the pattern, like searching and all. And when we go for the prior art searches like that, when we are analyzing like the uniqueness of that thing, then we found that the things already exist. So there are not proper record of that, like which material already exists, like that material already used for this battery. I think just recently we had one case where the inventor spent, I guess he was working more than 2 years for that, and he came up with material, one nanomaterial, the battery, but which was already, we got already like more than 500 patent for that. So that's like worthless for them. So apart from that, another brand which captivate my attention is in the healthcare industry. I can say that digital healthcare apparatus, just like a catheter. Yeah. So because of there are too much of competition to make that pattern as and there's one case. Let me just discuss one case where just inventor wants to anyhow that register the pattern of catheter. So he wants to go for the anyhow, but we told them like that it's already exists. Now he came up with another material for the, like now our catheter have that outer layer, has come up with this material. But when we went in detail later on, we came to know that material is causing the cancer. So in the need of going to register the patent, they forget to, like, is it really useful or is it the harmful, or how it's, because anyhow he wanted to separate his patent from the another inventor, because he just like to thought, the material is, if I change the material, I can go for the patent. But they are not thinking that another disadvantage and another side effect of that material. So this how many more topic in the technology domain. So it's a long way, but still going, and challenges are there. Yeah, that's it from my end. Thank you.
Basically, what we hear are like what Arsin said and what Nadim said. Nadim, he spoke about more about the legal aspects of getting it and how what is the value of these technologies and how governments are getting and aligning to handle these upcoming technologies. Arsin talk about some of the energy is going to be the next big thing actually. It is right now. Apart from digital, energy is the next big thing. Why would Toyota put out 5,000 patents for royalty-free use? Why? That's the question, right? It spent 25, 30 years developing this. Why would they throw out their entire hydrogen portfolio, fuel cell portfolio, open to the people? Right? What was the strategy? What was the thought process behind doing that? Does anyone here have a guess? Just wild guesses. If anyone knows, why would Toyota throw away 5,000 patents in the public domain for royalty-free use? Anyone? Just wild guesses. I don't have a proper idea. I probably have a guess.
They might wanted to give open challenge. There are challenges. They know that if they open up, then also there are challenges. People will not come up with the alternative, right?
Anyone else want to say something?
Yeah. Lot of patents were non-core technologies, and which means that they are not very important to their own core operations, and some of them they may not even try to pursue as a different business. but it could be important for the industry, other industries, applications. So even not just Toyota, we know Tesla as well, Google. So there are a lot of even Microsoft. So they do have these kind of I wouldn't call them a marketing tactics, but they have that IP strategy or IP licensing strategy. One of the ways to help the society, and I think a lot of time they would like to get recognized for this kind of gesture.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think the idea is they may not have some of those core competencies, but if they release it and make it open, then a lot of other people will build on that, right? And that's going to benefit them as well.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
They already know where the solution is. This is just a basic platform. The pyramid has to have.
Yeah.
But if you are, it's a market.
When we look at the SAP related categories, there has to be multiple people coming up with the top of the pyramid. But if you are protecting, and if you have already protected the top of the pyramid, there is nothing wrong in keeping the gate open for the bottom of the pyramid for people to go in there and then go up the ladder. Because once they go up the ladder, whatever you kept the gate open at the bottom, you can charge 4 times, 5 times, 10 times more for that.
Okay.
It's a very simple tactics. Nothing comes free.
Yeah.
Okay. And nothing comes merely for recognition purpose. This is a pure commercial issue. IP is pure commerce.
Yeah.
So everything they do is based on a royalty calculation, what will happen 5 years or 10 years down the line. That's all.
Okay, royalty calculation. Anyone else? Nadim, you want to take this? My personal opinion is, it is everything that all of you have said. But I feel I have a different, slightly different, in addition to what all of you have said, I feel, see, Akio Toyoda, the chairperson of Toyota, now he's moved out because of internal things. He's always been in two minds regarding EVs, alright. He never wants to make Toyota pure EV. Pure EV company, and we know in Europe there's a huge push for EVs, in the West, in US also, and a lot of the Asian countries are just mimicking what Europe and US decide for them, right? Including India, there's a huge thing for EVs now, right? But here's the thing. If you are going to be the only company in the world who's going to sell fuel cell based or hydrogen based vehicles, right? Who's going to buy your vehicle? Are you alone going to be able to provide the supporting infrastructure, enough hydrogen refueling stations all over the world, all over the country? If it's just Toyota cars, no, right? If everyone else also manufactures hydrogen vehicles, probably yes. Then it's worth it for investors to get into that business. It's worth it for a Shell to have hydrogen fuel stations all across the country. This is what Tesla did, mind it. When they came out with their electric cars, first thing they decided is, pan America, I'm going to put in my charging stations. So that before this thought would even come to the mind of a consumer that before I buy a Tesla car, where am I going to charge it? A Tesla customer doesn't think that way. He had the confidence that there are enough charging pods around for me to charge my vehicle, right? So I feel Toyota actually felt like this was like, if we are not going to help others come into the hydrogen bandwagon, our own efforts in hydrogen are going to crash completely. They are right now, as we speak, making last-ditch efforts to actually say, look, EVs are not the only way. We need to give consumers the option. If someone wants an ICE engine, let him have it. If someone wants, you can tax him, but let him have it. If someone wants EV, well and good. If someone wants hydrogen, because not every country is going to have the resources or the spending capacity to buy an EV. Not every country is going to have the infrastructure to have hydrogen vehicles also, right? So you need to decide. There's no one cut-fits-all solution here. You need to give options to the consumers and the markets. And that is what Toyota are going for. But especially for hydrogen fuel cell-based vehicles, they figure out just them being alone in the game is not enough. So they need to get more people in. So this is what they did. That's my thing, right? So, this is royalty calculation is one thing, but this is more of a business strategy, right? Because if I keep the doors closed and I'm the only guy in my party, what's the point? Nobody's coming to my party. I'm not going to, enjoy myself. I need to have a business. I need to make money. If nobody's going to buy my product because there's not enough supporting infrastructure, what's the point?
I think maybe we can from
Yeah. If any of us have questions. You take this.
Thank you so much. I did not attend from the beginning. I have something to do in the early morning. So I just caught you talking about metaverse. I have just a small comment. I think many people don't know that metaverse is not something new. It exists in the last century in many shapes and many formats. I think in the early 90s there is one novel called Snow Crash, while people can talk to some creatures called avatars and like another world. Then there was a gaming platform called Second Life. The same thing also, that people can go for gaming and they will go to other worlds. So I think it's not a new technology or a new thing, but it appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. It's going like that. And I think Mark Zuckerberg, this owner of Facebook, he is very clever, making use of the situation in 2020. Two things: the popularity of his platform, Facebook, and the COVID-19. He made use of these two things, and the way he announced the metaverse technology, he gave the impression to people that it's something new that will change the world. That's why many governments around the world followed him, and they started to amend and update their strategies to enhance this kind of technology into different things. Here in UAE, many ministries start to use this technology for many things. My question is that, from your experience, from your point of view, will this technology survive for a long time? It will continue with us, or again it will disappear and something else will? Thank you so much.
So whenever you have a particular piece of technology, what you need to consider is, who's promoting it, right? That's the first question. If it's a startup, nobody pays attention. If it is Zuckerberg, people are going to talk about it, but then if they see no value in it, they're just going to back away from it, right? So you would know Meta is getting hit by losses because of Zuckerberg's adventure into metaverse, right? So the metaverse is not just what Zuckerberg is selling, right? There is a different metaverse altogether, okay? How many of you are aware of NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA have a product or a platform called the Omniverse. It is a set of SDKs, APIs, and coupled with the hardware, which allows you to generate your own local metaverse ecosystem. And I'm not talking just about games and parties. I'm talking about, say, a Toyota or a BMW want to come up with a metaverse real-life integration of sensors and robots, and that being visualized in a digital virtual environment ecosystem where different people across the factory are getting views of different aspects of the things and coordinating with each other very easily. This is the kind of technology which brings in value, right? Again, another technology which I just spoke about was wiring of aircraft. This is one of the most time-consuming and expensive processes in the whole assembly process, all right? Ideally, it would take a worker to refer to 10-foot, 20-foot long paper drawings, look at them and wire, look at them and wire. This would take hours and he would make mistakes. You'd have to start over again, right? Now using AR goggles, he is given the instructions. Look, this is the fastener. You put this red color, throw this, blue, throw this goes into this, this goes into this. He can complete that in a few minutes or 1 or 2 hours. What would otherwise take him an entire day? What am I saving? I'm saving labor costs. My product quality is improving because he's able to do it perfectly. There'll be no mistakes. And it's giving me an overall efficiency of 35 to 40%, right? So I'm not only saving costs, I'm also getting a higher quality product using this technology. How does it work? It works like, I'll give you a typical example. It works like in my classes, if I'm in work though, before my shift starts, I'm about to start the day, I go, there's a QR code that I have to scan, which actually leads me to the work instructions of the whole day. Alright, so as I walk into the smart factory, my manager has assigned me a work which is actually in the form of a QR. I scan the QR, all the work instructions for that particular day are loaded onto my device. Alright, and after that, even if I'm not connected, I'm good. My data is good for 12 hours of my shift. Alright, I go into my shift, I start my work, I select the task, and it shows me what I have to do. I do that, I do the next one, I do the next one. Then what happens is whatever I have done, that can also be recorded in the digital models of the central repository, right? So that tomorrow morning my manager can come and actually verify whether the work has been done correctly, right? Now this is the kind of value in a technology like, now why am I calling it a metaverse? When we talk about metaverse, again, we have that impression this is going to be like that virtual, gamey. No. Metaverse can even be a virtual meeting where me being the airframer, I'm talking to a customer and I'm talking to engine manufacturer. Three of us are in one virtual meeting. There are things that aircraft manufacturer would want to show to me but not the end customer, right? There are things that I need to see in terms of data which the end customer does not need to see. But he needs to see how it works for him. So we show him a digital twin of what he needs to see. But at the same time, I am seeing a different digital twin in my screen. Alright? That's the beauty of it. This is the metaverse. It's not just like the whole. Now when you have all these different platforms connected together where it is purpose-built to do a specific application and they are all connected. So these are different islands which are going to be connected. And this is going to take a time. So the metaverse is actually going to be, a collection of different metaverses, thousands and millions, depending on what you have. So that's how I feel it's going to be like.
Thank you very much, Nadim, Avinav and Arsin, for your thoughtful insights to the topic. Now, I would like to call Fojo Pere Robert from Cameroon. He would be giving the mementos to the speakers. Please come to the stage, Fojo. Starting from you. Would you kindly share the memento with the... Now coming to Nadim.